The Time Loop Chronicles, The Day the Earth Fell Backwards by John V. Paneler. Consider the sky. We all looked upwards. What is it that you see? The chief continued. Yes, indeed. You see the stars. But you do not see what they mean. With your eyes you see. And with your ears you hear. But you do not see and you do not hear. I asked. What is it that you see? What am I missing? The chief smiled. As he gazed upwards. I see a timepiece, I see time unfolding. The stars are everything. And they are unfolding. They are the hands of the universal clock. The chief continued. Do you realize that this world operates in ages? Each age has a specific amount of time for the constellations to move to and fro. Space is a clock for time. But what most do not see is that it is constant. That time does not move outward forever. It rotates like a clock and returns from where it came from. Just like the stars. Therefore, we witness the sun every morning. With the newly formed grass in the spring and fallen leaves in the autumn. As a cycle. We see the same with the constellations every year as they move like hands on a clock. Time is in a loop, time is not linear. Earth is a time machine. It simply moves back and forth through time. And always comes back to the beginning once it reaches the end. It cannot proceed further. As I was trying to take all his words within, I replied, yes. I can see that. Not sure I totally understand where you are going with this. But I understand what you are saying. The chief continued. Earth is a time machine. The problem is Earth is no longer set up on its original clock. It has been changed. Changed? I don't understand. What do you mean changed? It seems the clock as you call it via the stars functions perfectly. The clock we see in space-time is the master clock. It reveals the times of the ages. Each age exists in a perfect numerical output of time. Each age lasts for approximately 2,160 years. And there are 12 ages that last for approximately 25,920 years. This is the master clock. This completes the grand cycle. The problem is, the cycle was interfered with. The Earth clock jumped off the time mantle and has been rotating not in 2,160 years of ages. But it is now stuck within 1/2 of an age. Or 1,080 years. And it keeps repeating this half age. Continually. It doesn't travel through the 12 houses anymore. It is stuck in one house. The last 1,080 years of Pisces. Are you telling me our Earth has its own clock and somehow it is stuck in a loop of time that lasts only 1080 years? That would mean our history is only 1000 years old and it then starts all over again. Is this correct? That is correct, my friend. We are stuck in a shorter time loop and it has become a prison. We are no longer following the initial ages of 25, 20 years. The furthest we can go back in this loop is the 10th century AD. Anything before this time has been eradicated from our memory. Many millions of years have been erased except for memory fallout or information given to us from sources beyond. Memory fallout. Yes. This is when a person's consciousness remembers something that has been blocked long ago. We call it fallout. So, you are telling me that there is no history prior to the 10th century. How can that be? We have plenty of proof our history goes back to the time of Egypt and even long before. And so much further back even unto the dinosaurs. What you are saying is not logical. The history that you speak of which we have been given, much of it is all a lie. It is either a deception, a fraud, or a forgery that has been replicated, duplicating historical events that have been relegated from one time and replaced into another time, extending the historical document. It is an alternative history or a fake history created via wars, where the victor changed the knowledge of history, of which their history was usually wrong also. Because even those cultures were once conquered and their history was redacted. There is no viable known history before the 10th century. However, there is a history, it is just no longer available via memory. Unless you have access to the energy centers on the Earth. Energy centers. Yes. I will be discussing this later. What about the sciences of carbon-14 dating and other techniques like dendrochronology? Potassium-argon dating. Thermoluminescence. Amino acid dating. And so many more. We use all these to prove our ancient sources and artifacts. They date back well before the 10th century. Also, what about family lineages that extend long before these set dates? Again, mostly fabrications. These inaccurate sciences were created to make sure you never know the truth that our history is only 1000 years old and that you are stuck in a time loop. But remember, the Earth is not 1000 years old, it does go way back into antiquity. Everything that occurred before this period was removed from our memory. There is very little known history prior to the 10th century or 937 AD to be exact, as of this timeline. Based on this time loop we are now within. And the interesting thing is about carbon-14 dating is that it completely deteriorates about 900 years back. And it becomes corrupted, revealing false data. Therefore much of our historical record prior is all invented or guessed at. All that we have is a duplicated history of the same events repeatedly, with names changed and certain details are forged on top of others with a blending of actual events in false era, but never revealing the true source data about these lost ages. It is the same history being repeated time and time again, from events in the future and not the past.